Hey, it's Commander Wallace again. This week we're going to be talking about groups and teams and what it means to be a leader when you're in a group or a team, as opposed to who you are by yourself as a leader or who you are with just leading one other person. Right. So up to now we've really been talking about motivating individual others. Now we're going to talk about what this all looks like at the team level, because believe it or not, it's a little bit different. So some initial building block concepts that we need to understand before we understand the rest of the material. One is the idea that there are formal and informal organizations. You're pretty familiar with the idea of a formal organization. You get this out of the org chart, the structure that's in place, the hierarchies that are in place. Policy creates these formal organizations, and we can certainly enforce them and create them, etc. But groups and teams can also form informally. In fact, most, other than your command itself and the unit for which you are in charge and involved in, most of what you're going to deal with groups and teams will be informal teams. So we see the emergence of informal leaders. We see the creation of informal groups and subgroups in teams. And you need to understand those processes in order to understand how to lead a team. So what are we talking about when we say a team? Well, a team is different from a group. A group is obviously two or more people. A team is maybe a subset of a group, if we're going to look at it specifically. Two or more people. And what's important is you can be part of many different groups, right? You might have your lunch group, you have your company, you have your team, you have your ECA, you have your major, you have your class, all these different social groups that you belong to. One or more of these may be teams as well. What distinguishes a team from a group is just a number of people who have either virtual or physical proximity to each other, and are identifiable by some shared experience or characteristic. A team, though, which again is kind of a subset of a group, but a team is different because a team has some sort of common overarching goal that the team is trying to accomplish. Something that they're trying to get towards. And this really is a distinguishing mark as a team. If the team doesn't have a goal, it's not really a team, it's just a group of people. And there's also some interdependence of action. So the performance of the team and whether or not the team achieves its goal requires interdependent action among the members. Now, there's a range of how much interdependence there can be. Interdependence is not monolithic, it's a continuum. You can have what we call pooled interdependence, where if you think of something like a swim team, where everybody runs their own event, swims their own event. I was thinking of a track team too, that everybody has their own event, right? Or a golf team that everyone has their own event, and everybody's actions are pooled into some aggregated outcome. You can also have what we call sequential interdependence, in which one person's work is handed off to another person. They take it as an input, and then they do something with it, and then they hand it off to another person. A good sports analogy here is the relay team. And again, kind of track or swimming, it works. But a relay team where a baton is handed from one person to the other. When you're done, you're done, and the next person kind of takes it and runs. This is what we call sequential interdependence. What's even more interdependent is something that we call reciprocal interdependence. And this is more like a basketball team, where if we think of the ball as the work, one person has it and then passes it to another player who passes it to another player, maybe passes it back to that original player, and it goes back and forth and up and down and in and out, where your outputs might be your inputs later on, somebody else works on your outputs, and these come back to your inputs. It's a real collaborative approach. These are highly interdependent teams. So understanding that there's a continuum of interdependence, but interdependence of action is required for something to be a team. So what distinguishes a team from a group? The common overarching goal, and then the interdependence of action in order to achieve that goal. Now, we have some important takeaways for our lessons here. And look, we're going to cover a lot of material during this module. And some of it's going to be about teams and how people behave in teams. And here's my takeaway there. People act differently when they're in a team. Norms start to come to play. There's social loafing, there's social facilitation. We're going to talk about all of these things, but people act differently when they're on a team or even in a group than when they do when they're alone. And so as a leader, you need to be aware of that. But we're gonna explore that a little bit. Also, we need to understand that leadership is a shared concept when working in a team. we're really going to share with you an idea that it's not about a leader and a bunch of followers doing stuff. It is about a shared process in which and yes, maybe one person on the team has the role of leader, has the title of leader, and is accountable for the team's output, but ultimately does not do all of the leadership things, and other people step up. And that's going to be a real big takeaway from what it means to be a leader in the team. And what I really want you to take away from that is, if you are the leader of a team, you need to insist on leadership from other people. And if you are not the leader on the team, then you need to be a leader on the team, and you need to step up and show some leadership as well, because leadership on the best teams, it's a shared experience. And our final takeaway that you're going to get this week is the idea of diversity. And diversity in teams really is a force multiplier. I think, a very practical approach to diversity, and I say that we preach diversity and we focus on diversity for many reasons, but one that we really want to focus on as leaders is it makes our teams better. And it makes our outcomes better for many different reasons. We're going to explore those reasons a little bit. But I also want to say that diversity brings with it some leadership requirements. That's why we often hear it referred to as diversity and inclusion. That diversity without inclusion, in fact, diversity where leaders don't actively participate, actively manage and lead that diversity, can actually devolve and can create real problems. And so in order to leverage that force multiplying ability of diversity, it really takes leadership. So those are the three big important takeaways for this module. We're going to explore each one of them throughout your learning.